This video is brought to you by Moomoo, where you can get a free share of Lucid as long as you complete a net deposit of $100 or more by the end of June. This is an exclusive promotion on the Hootmoney channel. Links are below in the description or pinned comment section if you guys want to check it out. But let's get right into today's video.
What's going on, everyone? Hootmoney here with another video for you guys today. Today, we are going to be talking about Ater or Ater stock and Vinco Ventures or Bbig stock, and giving you guys the update. So drop a like if you guys enjoy this content. If you guys wanted to join Hootmoney trade alerts to bag up with Hootmoney and other investors, we recently called out TRKA stock, which ran upwards of 280%. The link to join Hootmoney trade alerts is the first link in the description or pinned comment section. But with that being said, let's just jump right into it. First, we're going to be talking about Ater or Ater. I wanted to bring this to your situation because it's been pretty low volume, not so much volatility. We had an upswing on Friday, and this actually ignited the green means go signal here on Market Cipher. It's also in a very, very hefty demand zone. If I can find this rectangle tool for you guys, I'll show you. Right here is the previous demand zone from Ater. It starts at 331, goes up to about $2.50. This is where Ater could potentially bounce. It had trouble getting below this area and even saw lows of only about 209. So at this point, if you're going for shares, there's pretty low downside risk of getting in here. I mean, institutions might be even accumulating at these levels, considering that it has bounced at this level multiple times over, and it's showing its first sign of momentum to the upside with that green means go. I think it's really a decent opportunity to be getting in on Ater. As you guys can see, the purple demand zone was a perfect support level back here, and Ater was able to bounce. We're kind of seeing the same thing right here, and Ater is bouncing. So I am liking how the setup is looking on Ater right now. We can even see here on the hourly chart how crazy Ater is, because it'll randomly have spike ups. Like right here, it went up like 13-15% in after hours. Right here, it went up about 11%. It wants to come up, especially when it taps into this demand zone. It wants to come up. So obviously we'll be watching this. We also have implied volatility right here at a historically low value, chilling out at 125% implied volatility. It has not really gotten this low since the end of March right there, when it had its run in April, and then I guess down here at the end of January. Regardless, if you want to be playing call options, this is also the least risky time to be getting in, and it's also in a demand zone. So I'd say call options, maybe even longer dated call options such as leaps, could be a very, very good opportunity in something like Ater. Here you guys can see the Ortex data for Ater, and it has actually shown some short covering, which is pretty impressive. So as you guys can see, it maxed out on April 29th right there at 13 million shares short. Today, there are only 9 million shares short. This is one of the few stocks where we have actually seen a decline in short interest. On most other stocks, you see a decline in short interest. It's because they diluted the float. Today, we are seeing a short interest decline because actual shares have been covered. Very, very interesting, and they're doing it in low increments, which is why you don't see a huge effect on the stock price, but it's still a very bullish sign that shorts are attempting to get out of this position nonetheless. It's not showing the cost of borrows right here on the chart. It says about 77%, 100% utilization, and about 0.68 days to cover. Now, if we're looking at the 2 weeks days to cover on Ortex's chart, which is usually a bit more accurate, that's at 2.32. So there should be some more explosive pressure here if volume does come into the stock. Something that people might be alarmed of is the fact that there has been insider sales, a few of them since June 14th. These shares were not in huge volumes. It's only about 21,000, the highest one being 52,000 right here. And as you guys can see, this insider buy September 17th at $7.71 per share completely dwarfs all of the other insider sells. So it does seem bad that there is insider selling, but it's really not in great amounts. Looking here at the historical options flow, you guys can see it is at a lower level right now, chilling at about 10,000 call option volume. It had a high of 250,000 back here in April, and then also 294,000 back there in September of 2021. Now keep in mind that similar to implied volatility, when historical flow is at a lower level like it is right now, this could lead to some upside in the future. My general theory is that you don't want to be buying call options when call option volume is peaking out. That's when the most amount of people lose money. It's much better to be anticipating these things, looking at call option volume at a low value, implied volatility at a low value, and the stock being in a demand zone. So because of all this, I actually did take a position myself in Ethereum call options that are dated out till October. So I do have some time on them. If you guys want all of my entry and exit positions, you can do so with the first link in the description for Hootmoney trade alerts. All right, so now we are going to be getting into BBIG or Vinco Ventures. My last video, I was speaking about how BBIG could be in a very good buying opportunity as it was at a long-term support level. So you can see as the yellow dotted line, every time it has reached that level or gone below it, it has bounced pretty significantly. And it's just so wild because BBIG just does the same exact thing over and over again. It bounces when it goes to this 220 to 195 region. Then people load up on call options. People start to speculate where this thing could go. A lot of the times it does get overestimated, and now we are seeing a similar opportunity where it is in the demand zone and it potentially could see some upside. Now, because this stock has been diluted so much, I honestly don't really see it going above like the $3 to $4 level max peak euphoria. However, it's still a decent opportunity. And if you do go to $4 per share from the current price point, I mean, that's a 100% gain. So a 100% gain honestly does not seem too terrible. Any gains that would go beyond that point, we're going to need a bull market to come back in the overall stock market. But for now, I think $3 per share is a very, very solid target. And then max euphoria, I could expect $4 per share. Looking here at the Ortex data, it's gone absolutely crazy. Cost to borrow is being listed at 131%, although I believe the true value is likely over 300%. Correct me if I'm wrong. Short interest has accumulated to one of the highest values since January at almost 35 million shares being shorted as we speak. In April, it was at 27 million shares short. So that's been an increase of about 7 million shares right here. It's barely ever had this high value of short interest. I mean, the only time it got even remotely close was here in January and February. That's also when BBIG moved to roughly $6 per share. Now, the float is up about 50% since that point. However, it's still something to note, and 20% short interest is still very, very high. Days to cover is also at a very high value. This is higher than Ethereum at 2.34. It becomes even higher right here if we incorporate the 2 months days to cover, or 2 weeks days to cover, excuse me, and that puts it at $3 per share. Now, let's look at the same thing that we looked at for Ethereum, but with BBIG, and that is historical implied volatility. So when BBIG did in fact hit this point at the end of May or beginning of June, I tweeted out that BBIG hit 150% implied volatility. Going back to the chart, you guys can see that is the exact moment that BBIG breached into the demand zone at $2.20 per share. So now you're seeing something where the stock price is declining. However, when you are looking at that implied volatility, it was going up, and it's reached a higher value now in the middle of June than it was at the beginning of the June, even though the stock price was in fact decreasing. I mean, on June 14th, you can see that implied volatility was up. It was not down, right? And the stock price was at the lowest level. So what this tells me is that there's a strong possibility of a bounce because people are speculating in the options market, buying the dip on the options market, or at least the call options market, which means they are expecting an upwards move in the future, right? So with BBIG, at least, that's always a good sign to buy the dip when it does hit that 150% level. This also correlates with the long-term demand zone from $2.20 down to $1.95, which it constantly bounces from. Historical flow is also at a very low level, 41,000. We've gone over this before. Historical flow, very similar to implied volatility. When it is low, it usually represents a better opportunity. Also, something to note with BBIG is that it has a pretty insane option chain for July, which is in less than a month at this point. So this could get extremely juicy in BBIG. 13,000 at 2.5, 31,000 calls at $3. It goes on, right here, 66,000 at $5 per share. So there could be an additional gamma squeeze action coming out of BBIG as well, especially leading up to that spinoff. We can see for July that the max pain is actually at $2.50, which does represent some upside in and of itself. The gamma exposure is also pretty insane here, as you guys can see, from $2 all the way up to $3, probably beyond. It's not showing all the data, but we can see all the open interest right here. There's a lot of juice in terms of the options market on BBIG. I do expect volatility to cool off, obviously, after the spinoff. Right now, it is being planned for the end of Q2 2022, which would be before the end of the month. Obviously, there's going to be less natural demand for BBIG stock as it no longer includes Tyde after the spinoff does conclude. So always keep that into your consideration. Anyways, that's about it for the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. As always, drop a like on it if you guys did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if y'all are new. And if you guys wanted to join Hootmoney Trade Alerts, bag up with Hootmoney. We've called multiple different plays. We've made a few good option plays as well over the last few months. And it's been overall an amazing experience. And I believe most people, if not everyone who has joined, has had a great experience as well. The most recent multi-bagger hit being a 280% gain on Troika Media, or TRKA. Hootmoney Trade Alerts is the first link in the description or pinned comment section down below. There's also Moomoo, where you can get your free share of Lucid stock as long as you complete that net deposit of $100 or more. That ends at the end of June. It's an exclusive promotion between Moomoo and Hootmoney. So if you wanted to check that out, that link is also down below in the description or pinned comment section. But without further ado, we're going to end the video here. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day. See you guys tomorrow morning at 9:15 a.m.